Okay. So last time we started talking about string formatting, which is used to really format your output as you're writing it in a file or on the screen. So the general form for string formatting is as follows. You have a format string, which is really a string, whatever you want to print, a pattern that you want to print. And inside of it, it has certain arguments, as if it's a function. So it has, certain arguments or certain placeholders that you're going to replace with values in your program. So it's really a format string, which will contain placeholders. And then you do percentage, and then you list the list of values as a tuple. Tuple is ordered, right? So if you have three placeholders here, you should submit, a tuple of 3 values, and they will be replaced in order as I'm printing the string or writing it into file. What are the typical types of placeholders? We have, some examples here. The full list is on is in the documentation of Python. So we have something like this, %d. If you want to replace, in a string format, some value as an integer, right? So basically, this represents an integer. %f represents a real number. %s is a string. %ad means, you have an integer, but you want to use 8 spaces to print it. Even if it's smaller than this, so if it's, 23, you will still use 8 spaces to print this value, okay? And this one is right aligned, meaning right that the values are aligned to the right. So if you write, multiple, if you're doing this in a loop, the numbers will be written each one in a line, and all of them are right aligned. Yeah, so they're aligned from the right. This one does the same, but it pads with 0, the 8 spaces. So if the number is less than 8 characters, it will pad it with 0 from the left, okay? And so on. So this is left aligned. This is a float. This is a float with 4, digits after the decimal point. This is a float, which is a total of 6 numbers, 2 points after the decimal point. Let's try it out. So I'm going to do the following. Let's say print, just a couple of them to remind you of what they do. Print this is an awesome number. And then %, let's say 8d, okay? And then isn't it? Since it's just one placeholder, I can just submit it as a value. So I'm going to give it 96. So I'm trying to print this statement. This is an awesome number, %ad, isn't it? And then what's going to happen is as I print the statement, I'm going to replace this %ad with 96. And let's observe what happens. It used 8 exact spaces, right, or characters to write the 96. Let's try another example. So we'll do the following, -ad, just to show you the difference. And now it padded it to, aligned it to the left, right? So it still used 8 spaces, but it aligned it to the left. What does that mean? Can we control string alignments? You can, I just showed you. You're saying, the %s, you should be able to, yeah. Give it a try. Yeah, try it out on your, console and see what happens, or in your. Okay. Excellent. Let's try one more, and then we'll do a couple of exercises, and then move on to something else. So I'm gonna do the following. This is an awesome number, %, let's say 6.2f, and I'm give it a float. All right. 3. Okay. Let's see what it's going to happen. So I'm saying it's going to be 6 characters long, and 2 of them are after the decimal points. What it does is it's going to truncate. You have 3 digits after the decimal point, it's going to truncate them. Yeah, so it's used a total of 6 spaces and 2 after the decimal point, so it's going to exclude the 3 automatic. and so on. Okay, there's zillions of things you could try. Please, work this out sometime if you can. Yeah, so you get the hang of it, the different ones. Okay, so I asked you the last time to do this exercise. This exercise really covers what we're talking about nicely. So I have the following thing. I want to write my name is Arna Young, printed on the screen. My age is 23 years old. Okay. So I'm going to define two things, two variables. One is the format string and one is the data. Since I have three different things that I want to print, right? So three different values, I have to put them in a tuple. So I'm going to put them, I call this tuple data. I'm going to say the first argument or the first element is Arna, the second is Young, and the third is 23. Now, right, all I have to come up with is the format string, yeah, the thing that I want to print, replacing, placeholders with these values. And then, right, then I can just say print format string, right, percentage data. And what it's going to do when it sees this, it's going to take, your format string and replace the elements in data, replace the placeholders with elements in the data in order. Okay, so thoughts on this? How can I do this? Okay, so yes, Mahdi is saying the following. Okay, so Mahdi is saying let's do the following. Okay, so let's try. Data, as defined in the slide, is Arna. So a tuple of three elements, Young and 23. Okay, and then format string is Mahdi saying my name is percentage S. So two, first name and last name, and then a full stop, and then my age is percentage D, years old, because the years, the age is in integer. Okay, great. Now let's try to say print format string percentage. Let's see what it prints. Prints my name is Arna Young, my age is 23 years old. Okay, great. We've done this exercise the last time, but I wanted to repeat. This exercise, I want you please to give me the format string again, right? I want to print the string out on the screen, and I have, the values are John, Doe, and 53.44. So imagine this is in a loop, and and inside this loop I populate this tuple with the different customers that I have. I'm trying to print their balance, and so just every time I go through an iteration of the loop, I just fill in the data. I use the same format string and I print format string percentage. Okay. We have two of them. So you have two of them here. It's the same in order. Look at it here. My name is percentage S. Percentage S, this means I expect two strings, right? Here is what the data is. First element is a string, second element is a string. So if you put 3 percentage S, it means you're expecting 3 different, strings. Yeah, so really it's just, this is one placeholder. Think about it as if it's a function, yeah? So you have a function with 3 arguments, percentage S, percentage D. Then you give it a tuple with 3 values. The first percentage S would be matched to the first value. Second percentage S would be matched to the second. Percentage G would be matched to the third. Does that answer your question, Suad? Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. You're welcome. All right, second one. Oops. Any thoughts, please? Yeah, I want to print, this string. Okay, Muhammad Nama is saying, Naima, sorry, or I'm not very good at pronouncing names. My name is percentage S, but we're talking about this exercise, Muhammad. We already finished the previous one. We're talking about this one in the slides. Hello, John Doe. Well, your current balance is $53.44. Okay, so format string is saying hello, percentage S, perfect, and then full stop. Current balance is percentage F. Let's try this out. Okay, that's a good start. Okay, so I'm gonna say data is equal to John. So, and the balance is 53.44. Okay, and then format the string is equal to string hello percentage S. That's for the first name. Percentage S for the second, for the last name. Your balance is. Let me try with what Nasreen is doing with see the output, and then I'll check your comment, Christina. Okay, so she's saying percentage F. Okay, I mean not a, it's a good attempt, because I know that the first two are strings, the third is float. Okay, let's try to print format string percentage data, and let's see what it gives me. It gives me hello John Doe. Your balance is 53.44 and 4 zeros. Okay. So I really wanted to print the following. So I need to just modify the format string a little bit. Hello, John Doe. That's the first part is correct. Your balance is, I want to do a $sign, 53.44. So, okay, Mahdi's saying, so Christina's saying it's 2.2. I like that. Yeah. And then Mahdi's saying it's 3.2. And Christina's saying, okay, it's 4.2. Yes, it's 4.2 because I want it to be 4. Assuming that the balance now, the issue is what you're saying and Mahdi is saying. I like the 0.2 F for sure. What you and Mahdi are saying is that the balance cannot be greater than $100. Yeah. So really, just to make it more general, here is how I would change it. 0.2 F. Yeah, I don't have to specify the whole length. I can just say, okay, it's point. After the decimal point, I want 2 digits. Before the decimal point, it can be anything. Yeah? So I don't have to specify always write the whole size of the number. Yeah, that's the only difference. Your solutions are almost correct. It's just that you don't want to restrict it to 2 digits before the decimal point and 2 digits after. So let's try this out. So print format string data. I forgot something. I forgot the $sign in the format string. Correct. So I want to add $sign before the number. Okay, and now if I print, it gives me hello John Doe. The balance is 53.44. Okay, great. Any questions on this? So why is this useful? I'm going to show you, one of the assignments just quickly. We're not going to go through the code or anything, but I want to show you how this is typically used. So in the assignment, if you look at this exercise, assignment 7, here for instance, right? The make change. Without going through the make change algorithm, how it works, it's very simple. Yeah, so really just a set of if statements and set of loops, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, I want to print my output as follows, like this. Column which has the number of the coins or the number of, the bills. Yeah, so here I'm trying to change 92. I should give the guy 50,000 bill, 2 20,000 bills, that's 90, and then 2 1,000 bills. So I want to print this out in this format. If you look at it, right, it's one number here, one digit, because it's never going to be more than one digit. Yeah. And then the second column is LBP, and then the third column is 50,000, right, in this format. Right. So it's right aligned, and you're taking right here 2 digits before the comma, and then 3 zeros after the comma. Okay. So just to show you, right, how I did this in a solution. Change the PY. Let me show you. Okay. Here we go. So here's the print change without saying, what it does. I just want to focus on this statement. Okay, that I'm highlighting right now. So I wrote percentage D, so it's a loop that's looping over, the place where I put the, number of bills per type. yeah, per amount, yeah. So like 3 20s, 150, 1000, and so on. So here's where I'm printing it. I'm saying print percentage D because I know, the number of bills is going to be an integer. So I'm saying print percentage D, and then LBP, that's the second column, and then percentage 2D because I know, right, there are 2 digits, yeah, either 50, 100. Actually, no, it should be 3, right? Because I have the 100 as well, right? In this example, it wasn't, right? So I want to reserve 3, a place of 3 digits, and then comma 0, 0, 0, and then I pass the values that I want to replace. I want to replace this with a number. So that's my first value. It's a tuple, as you see, and this second item would be replaced with this, which is the amount. Yeah, so 100,000, 100,000, and so on. Okay, let's run it just to show you what it does, and then we'll do a really cool exercise. PY, and I give it 92 as the example, and I want to print this out on a text file as well. And as you see, it says 1 LBP 50,000, 2 LBP 20,000, and 1 LBP 2 LBP 1,000. And as you see, right, it's reserved, made it, right. Okay, so this is really the typical scenarios where you use this string formatting. It's not that you just have, a set of values that you want to print because you can put it directly in a string, but it's more when you have, a set of values that you want to print in a systematic way, and you have a certain format, like a table or something like this. Yeah. Questions? Okay, great. Now I want to spend the rest of the lecture doing the Hangman program. So the last question in the assignment. Why I want to do this? Because of the following. This is an actual program. Yeah. So all of what we've been doing is writing, one function to do this, to check if a string is a palindrome, to, do things like simple things. In this assignment, we're starting to write real programs, and that's really what you will be doing from now on, and of course in other courses, and later on when you graduate and use programming for any reason. Yeah, so real projects, you actually write a real program that has multiple functions, they interact with each other, and to achieve a certain task. And I think the Hangman example or exercise is a good example of this. Okay. All right. Let's see what's happening. So what is the Hangman exercise? Let's go to the Hangman. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to open. So what is a Hangman game? Anybody doesn't know what a Hangman game is? So you pick a word, some word. Let's say I'm playing against Christina. So I'm going to pick a word. I'm going to ask Christina to guess what the word is. And Christina guesses it by telling me letters from the alphabet. We're assuming only lowercase. So she's going to tell me, does the word that you have that I have in my mind contains A? And I have to answer her honestly. If it contains A, I'm going to tell her exactly where in the word A appears. If it doesn't have A, I'm going to tell her, A doesn't exist. Okay, so it's not in the word. Please guess again. And we're doing a limit of 8 rounds. So she has 8 guesses to be able to, or 8 times she can guess letters to be able to say what the word is. Otherwise, I win. Yeah, if she manages to finish before 8 rounds of guessing, she wins. So far, so good? Okay. So let's start by running the program. I finished the program and want to run it first to just show you what do we expect as output, and then we're going to walk through every step of this program to kind of really see how I would structure such a program. We already structured it for you, so because this is your, the first time you do something like this, but it is your job really to take a task and be able to structure it into, multiple components that work together. Each one is typically a function doing some purpose, and these functions work together. You cannot just write one function and write the whole program in it. This is really terrible program. Yeah, we'll understand why, as we move on to talking about debugging and testing. So if you write just one large function that does everything, you're bound to do a lot of errors. Yeah, so it's really better to break your program into components, test each component alone to make sure it's working, and then modularly build on these components to create one, the whole function that you want to do. Okay, so let's try by playing the game. So I'm gonna do clear. I'm gonna say Python hangman.py. Okay, so the game is gonna work this way. The computer is gonna pick a word out of a list. So we have a file that contains a list of words, and it's going to pick one word out of this list. Okay, so it's gonna just choose one word randomly. It's not gonna tell me what is it, and I'm gonna play against it. Okay, so let's see. So it said loading word list from the file. It has loaded 50,909 words. Yeah. And then it says, welcome to the game, Hangman. I'm thinking of a word that is 9 letters long. So it picked, out of this list of words, a random word that is 9 letters long. Then it tells me you have 8 guesses left because I haven't started the game yet. Yeah, I haven't started playing. I started guessing. And it tells me the available letters. So all of the letters in the alphabet are available. I haven't chosen any word, any letter yet. Okay. So it tries to keep track of, the possible letters that could still be part of the word. Yeah. So exclude anything that I've guessed that is either in the word or not. So please guess a letter. Any guesses from you? So we want to try to find a 9-word letter. Okay, A. Everybody seems to choose A. Okay, let's see. So actually, A is not in my word. So now it decreases, yeah, my guesses by 1. So now it says you have 11 guesses left, and it removes the A from the string of available letters because I know A is not there. Okay, I've seen a lot of things. C, I, S. Okay, I'll take S because it's the first letter of my name. Good guess. Good job, Rawat. Okay, so now I know that ends in F, and I have 8 letters left. J, okay. Vowels, so I'm saying vowels. Okay, so I see, we'll try E and then we'll try J and see. So I picked E, so E is not there, so let's try J from Joseph. And it's also not there, we're almost losing. So what do you think? M, okay. Yes, M is there, great. So we have M, right? And we have 7 letters to it, and it ends in MS. What on earth is the word that ends in MS? Has to be something that is plural, probably. I, O, okay. Let's try I. Yes, it's there.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yeah.
When we're choosing a correct letter,
yeah,
the number of guesses is decreasing.
Yeah.
Isn't that?
It shouldn't decrease, you're saying?
Yes.
I don't remember the assignment. Let me see the rules. Yeah.
I think it only should decrease when we guess a wrong letter.
Let me see. I have to check the output. You have 5. Letter. I'm thinking. Yes, you're right. You're right. So I will modify this as we go. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Let me actually, let's just finish this round, and then we'll modify it and run it again. Okay, correct. Okay, so let's try I, dots, and then MS. What else do we have? How about G? Let me try G. Okay, we have only 1 guess left. Okay, O. So sorry, ran out of guesses. The word was, I would have never guessed it. You would have never guessed it. Right, so even if we spent the rest of the lecture trying to guess. Okay, so you're saying the following. You're saying that whenever I guess correctly, I should not reduce the number of guesses. Good point. Yeah, so I made a bug in the code. All right, so let's try to think about this. We'll fix this bug as we go, but let's try to see how this program is structured, how we structured it for you. We've divided it into a set of functions. Each function is responsible for one thing. So there is the first function here, which is load words that we already given you. This function, what does it do? It doesn't take any arguments. And right, because I defined this words list file name that uses the words list file name, yeah, so it doesn't have to have an argument. And what it does is it just loads, reads the words inside this file. So it opens the file as we discussed in the last lecture, start reading, each word line by line, and then put them in a word list. So it puts a list which would contain one word per item. Yeah. So each item in the list is just one word out of this file. If you look at the file, where is it? Words.txt. Okay, it just contains these words. Right. So it loops over these words, put them inside a list. Okay, we're giving you this code, so we're not going to go through it. You can read. Then choose word. Here's another function where its job is to choose the word out of the list of words that I have. And that word should be chosen randomly. So this function takes a word list that we've just constructed and then chooses a random word out of it using this random.choice. So random.choice, when you give it a sequence, whether a list or tuple or something like this, what does it do? It picks one of this of the items of this data structure, list or tuple, or other things like string, picks one of them randomly. Yeah, so one item randomly out of the list of items that you have. Okay, so this is the helper code that we've given you. Okay, we need to use these functions to be able to, in addition to other functions, to be able to develop this hangman game. Okay, so we asked you also to do few other functions. The first one was this word guessed. Yeah, it takes two things: secret word, so the word that I'm thinking of, which is the thing that would be generated randomly, and the letters guessed. What letters have you guessed so far? So it keeps track of the letters you have guessed, so inside the list, and it tries to see whether you've managed to guess the word correctly or not. I didn't make it, right? So I think we got it from somewhere. I think Dr. George is the one who created it, but he probably got it somewhere. Okay. What happens if we guess a letter twice? It should stop you. It should tell you, it doesn't decrement your guesses, and just tells you that you've already guessed this letter. We'll see how this works. So yeah, just focus now on this function. We want to write a function that I give it a secret word and a list of letters that I've guessed, and it tells me whether I've managed to guess all the secret word. Okay, so we're telling you exactly what it does. It should return true if all the letters of the secret word are in the letter guessed. So how do I do this? It's as simple as this. Loop over every character in the secret word. So the secret word was, Anne, right? I'm writing uppercase, but we're assuming everything is lowercase. Okay, and I've guessed, A and C and N, right? It will loop over this guy and try to check, is A in this, letters that you've guessed, right? This is a list. Okay. So is A in this list? Yes. So it will move to N. Is N in this list? Yes. So we'll move to the next N. Is N in this list? Yes. Then you managed to guess the word correct, even though you made some additional guesses, but at the end you managed to get all of the letters inside them. So how I'm doing this? I'm looping over every character in the secret word, checking if this guy exists in the list of letters that I've guessed. If it is, every character is there, I return true, right? Otherwise, if I have one character, so let's say it was Anne with an E, which is also a great show on Netflix, then if I go loop over this four characters, E is not in the guessed letters, so I'm going to return false. So this condition would not be true for E, and I'm going to return. As simple as this. Okay, so that's one function that we wanted you to write, and we'll see how we would use it in the whole program later. Okay, so let's see the next function. Other questions about this one? This is really as simple as this. Let's do the next function. Get guessed word. Yeah. So I give it two arguments again, the secret word, a string, and the letters guessed. And it wants to kind of tell me, how the word looks like. So basically like this. I wanted to print, I give it what is the secret word and what are the words you've guessed so far, and it gives me a pattern like this. For any letter that I've guessed correctly, you show it in its position of the secret word, and for the rest, replace them by underscore. How do I do this? Okay, again, I have the secret word. I loop over it letter by letter. So, right, this is loop over every letter in the secret word. If it's in the guessed word, if it's in the letters guessed, right, I show it. So let's say here, for this one, right, we guessed I to be, part of the word. And so I go and check, right? Is I in the word? Yes, so show it, right? For the other letters that I haven't guessed, I show, underscore. So I'm going to loop over the secret word and then check every character in the secret word. Is it in the letters guessed? Yes or no? If it's not, I replace it with an underscore because I don't want to show this letter. Otherwise, I show the character, right? Since it's correct, it's correctly guessed. And then at the end, return this string. Yeah. So really what it does is it just replaces the thing with the. Okay. Then finally, I have a function which gets available letters. What does this do? It takes the list of letters that I have, that I've guessed so far, goes over the whole alphabet, the 26 characters in English, and removes any one that I've guessed, right? So it tells me what are the available letters, right, that I can guess from or choose from in my code. Okay, so that's what it do. I loop over all the items in letters guessed. Remember, it's a list, and check if this guy is in, the alphabet. If it's part of the alphabet, I remove it, right, from my current S, because, right, I already guessed A and D and F. So I don't really need to, I need to remove them from the string and return the rest of the S. You're asking if you replace it with an underscore, where replace it? We're talking about get available letters. This one, the previous function, or this function? Yes, I want to just print, right? I want to show the person why is this a problem that is creating a new string? I'm saying I want to show the person, right, with every guess, what is the thing? I don't need this to all be accumulated in the same string. I'm just trying to say, currently you've guessed these letters. This is what you have missing. These are the letters you have missing. So I don't see why this is a problem, Robert. Okay. Where can we find functions like in file? Like, what do you mean in file? One at a time. So Christina, what are you asking? These are if you open the zip, there is, helper thing. If you go to the assignment, there are two things, right, that are there. Assignment 7 and then assignment 7 files.zip. Yeah, you just open this guy. It will open, unzip the file, and then you have hangman.py. You open this guy, that's where it has all the structure. Yeah, with these functions. What you have to do is to fill the rest of the functions. Okay? No problem. So what about consecutive checks? Why I don't get what you mean. Consecutive checks, every time I guess, I call this function. Here are the letters that I've guessed. Here is, the secret word. Fill in the word, show me the correct characters, and the rest of the characters in the secret word with a hyphen. I don't see what the problem is with consecutive checks. Okay. Anyway, let's not get hooked up on the way of doing it. You can do it any way you want. You can keep it in one string. It's up to you. What I'm trying to say is to walk you through the structure of the program. Yeah. I really don't get your questions, Rawat. Please, we can discuss this after class. Yeah, just focus on the big picture. You can write this function any way you want. What we want is really to do that. It does the following: check the letters guessed, check the secret word, and replace every character, that I've guessed correctly, show it to me, and the rest show it hyphens. Yeah, let's not get hooked up on the particular way of writing them. All right. So now let's go focus on the hangman, the main function. The main function takes a secret word, should use all of these functions above to create my program. Okay, so what does it do? First, I need the length of the secret word, because I do the following. I tell the guy, I'm thinking of a word that is 9 letters long, right? So that's the first thing I do. I say, welcome to the game, hangman, and then I say, I'm thinking of a word that is 9 letters long. So I'm trying to get the number, the length of the secret word. Where did I load the secret word? Here, right? If you look at it, I call secret word equal choose word, right? So basically, that's when I generated the secret word, and then I pass it to hangman. Okay, so the main function hangman. Okay, and then I print welcome to the game. Printing, I'm thinking of a word that is %d letters long, and I replace %d with, right? What is the question, Jet? Okay, I don't see what your comment means. Okay, then I initialize my letters guessed. That's, initially you didn't make any guesses. That's going to be empty. And then I loop. I have 8 rounds to guesses to make, and I should really increment it each time I make a wrong guess. So we want to update this loop so that it works correctly. So here's what I'm printing. I'm printing, this is current round. You have how many guesses left? You have 8 minus I, because I starts with 0. And then every time I make a wrong guess, it should be decremented. Okay? And what is the available letters? I'm going to say, what are the available letters? Initially, it's all the alphabet from A to Z. Okay? So that's really the first step, the first round. And each time, I will update it based on the current letters guessed. I keep track of whatever letters you're guessing, and I'm removing these from the available letters. Yeah, so I'm calling the function get available letters with the letters guessed. Initially, it's empty string, so it's going to return it's an empty list, so it's going to return every character. Okay. Now I'm going to say, please guess a letter. And I'm going to check 2 things. If C is not in letters guessed, so basically, have you already guessed this letter or not? Because if I've guessed it, then I shouldn't, do anything. I should just tell you that you've already guessed this letter. So here's the else. You have already guessed that letter. So I check, right? Have you guessed this letter before? If you haven't, I do something. If you have, I just print, you have already guessed that letter. Okay. Now let's say I guessed a new letter, so it's not there. What do? I append, first of all, this guessed letter to whatever letters guessed, whatever letters you have guessed so far. And then, I go and check whether, guessed word, get guessed word, which is basically it gives me, the word with the hyphens or with the underscores versus the actual letters. And I check here. If C, right? If C, the one you guessed, is in secret word, I print good guess, right? So let me see what guessed words do. Sorry. Forgot what guessed word. Yeah. So give me the string, right? The basically, have you guessed the word correctly? Okay. So some underscore and some letters. Okay. And then it sees the following. If C is in secret word, you say print get guess. You guessed, good guess, and that's really your so far, right? That's the guessed word so far. And then if if you have guessed the word completely, then guessed word would have no underscores at all, right? So then you can say print congratulations you won. Of course, I could use I didn't use this function, right? But I could also check, this method. Yeah, so try to use this method instead of the way I've done. This is word guessed. Yeah, so it's word guessed. You can always check, right, the secret word and the letters guessed and update your code. right? Okay. Else I print okay, the letter is not in my word, and I print the guessed word, and I update I to be I plus 1. Okay, so here we need to change this update to only happen when I make a wrong guess, right? So I do it like, right? Yeah. So let's try it out again, right? What I did is here, I just made this I plus equal 1 only happens when, I make a wrong guess. Before I was doing it with wrong guess and right guesses, yeah? This function, that's what I was telling you. You could replace this with what is it called? Is word guess. Okay, so here I'm saying is word guess of secret word and letters. So what does this function do? It takes, my secret word, my letters guessed so far, and make sure whether the secret word is there or not. If I manage to do this, then I finished the game. Let's run it, test it, and then we'll see. I'll take questions. Here, Python. Okay, so 7 letters. We have all the letters available. So please guess a letter. So I want to check, I updated my code to make sure that, only be punished on wrong guess. Again, A, okay. So this letter is not in my word, okay. And now I have all the words is empty. I, okay. Good guess. I have I, and now it didn't, you look here, it allows me 7 guesses as well. So I was saying O, okay, let's try O. Nope, so now I have 6 guesses. Any other ones? N? Nope. M? Nope. Oh, yes, M is good, and I have I, M, space, I, blah, blah, blah. Let's try a letter that we've tried before. So let's try, for instance, N. We've already tried that, right? It tells me you've already guessed the letter, right? N, and right, it doesn't change the number of guesses that I have. Okay, O. We've already tried O. Yeah, it's gonna tell you the same. You've already tried O, right? It doesn't change the number of guesses. G. Okay. G is not, and now I have 4 guesses. P. P is not, and I have only 3 guesses left. L, R, okay. R, oops. M, I think. M, T, okay. One, it's not, and it's I don't know who chose these words, but it's ambiguous. Okay. Let's try it out with one word that we pick. Yeah, so I think you should test it like this. So we can try with, so we're gonna do secret word equal happy. Yeah? And let's see what it does if we play the game. Man. So now I changed the code to be, so it says I'm thinking of a word that is 5 letters long. Let's say I try with something wrong. So I say E. It says E is not there. Let's try A. Tells me A is there, right? And it's the second letter. Let's try P. Tells me yes, P is there, and gives me, where it is. I can try H. And I say happy. Then I try Y. I say yes, good guess, you get it correctly. We assuming that it's working with lowercase letters. If you want to handle uppercase letters, so capital letters, write in your code something that as soon as I read a character from the user, turn it into lowercase. Yeah, that's the simplest thing to do. So here, when I get the C equal input like this, you can say write dot lowercase. Yeah, turn it into lowercase. Yeah, here what we did. We did it before. If you look at it, it should print that you've already chosen the skill, right? Where is it? Here. You've already guessed that letter, so it should print this. You've already guessed that letter, and it should, tell you, right, try again, and it doesn't update your guesses. So if you guess a character that you already guessed, then it should not punish you. Yeah, just remind you that you've already guessed this letter. How did I do in this code? How did I do this in the code? I check. Let's see in letters guessed. If it is, yeah, then I just print, oops, you have already guessed that letter. Don't do anything else and continue with that. Okay? All right. The whole point of this code or this program, again, it's not difficult, but don't get overwhelmed. Most of the assignment is really easy, but it's starting to feel more like real programs where you do, actually something rather complex, and you want to divide your things into functions. Yeah. So this is really a good way of thinking about how to structure a program. Please do this exercise, at home. As soon as you can. It's a very good exercise, and try to write it from scratch, yeah, using the helper. Okay, on Friday we'll start by taking questions. You're concerned about the exam. I know you're all nervous. I can feel it. You're all tense. You shouldn't be. Yeah. This course is not easy, I know, but you will realize how easy it is once you get to the next programming course, or once you get, to your second year in the university. This is really will become piece of cake. Your TAs, that are teaching you now, used to struggle with this course. We all, struggled with this course, even I, because it's something new, very new to you. Yeah. So don't let this discourage you. Don't let the exam discourage you. Don't stress too much about the exam. It's really just a way of assessing your understanding, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah, you can be a great programmer and do great in the exam, and the other way around. We'll talk a little bit about tips for the exam on Friday. If you haven't done the mock-up exam, please do it. Yeah, so it's on Moodle, so that you're more comfortable with the environment of the exam. So you go ahead, submit it late, Jad, right? Doesn't matter. I mean, it's not a big deal. Yeah, if I were you, I will do the assignment before the exam. That's really the best way to study for the exam. You're studying for the exam wrong again, right? What you're doing for the exam, I got an email from somebody asked me what chapters are included. This is not a philosophy course. This is a programming course. You cannot, assuming it's a writing course or it's a course in drawing. You can't ask questions like this. Yeah, you need to really. It builds on everything that we talk about. Builds on things we've talked about before. Yeah, so please try to do the assignment, not for the sake of submitting it, but for the sake of practicing. It's a good practice for the exam. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll talk on Friday. Stop recording.